Hello and welcome to the 2017 return of the Real Game Media Podcast. Today we have a lot of topics to get through, so we're going to try and get straight into them after our introductions. We have to scrap world trade agreements, break treaties, piss off the rest of the free world. Oh no, hang on, that's Trump's to-do list. Where's mine? Here we go. Okay, so let's get into the intros. Joining us today, we have Eric Jackson.
Good afternoon or morning or whatever people have going on around the world.
Just hello works. Yeah, hello works.
Damn, Gina.
We also have Julius Malco. I thought we had Julius Malco. There we go. Welcome, Chewy. Yeah.
Of course, I had myself on mute. Stupid Chewy.
Chewy says hello.
Well done. And joining the podcast today for the first time is one of our writers from Real Game Media, Sam Tolbert.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here.
Hey, Sam.
Welcome, Sam. Welcome.
Indeedy. So before we get into the topics, why don't we just do a quick roundtable and talk about what we have been playing. Tell you what, let's not restrict it to the week because this is our 2017 return. We've all been playing a lot of games over the last month. So what are the top games that you've been playing over the last month? And let's do it in the order we did the intros. You go first, Eric.
Let's see. Actually, I was on a mission just to finish Gravity Rush Remastered because it's like one of those ones that was in my backlog since like last February. So I finally just knocked that out because I wanted to actually pick up the second game. And I just got started on Yakuza 0. And going back now to also finish off Doom before I pick up Resident Evil 7.
Nice.
Yeah, just trying to clear some more backlog before I go pick up new games, because if not, I'll never get to the backlog. So.
Let's be realistic. We're never not going to have a backlog. We just need to embrace it and understand that it's a reality, and we're never getting through our backlog.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. I think I said on here before, I'm probably going to put in my will that my daughter's required to finish my backlog.
It is your responsibility to your father.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Gamer problems.
For real, man. Good problems to have, but can also cause some anxiety at times,
You've got 99 problems and your backlog is one of them.
Real talk. And let's be honest, it ain't going to get any better.
No, especially not with the lineup of games we have coming out this year, and particularly for multi-platform owners. I don't understand, A, where I'm going to get the time, and B, where I'm going to find the money to buy all these games every month.
That too. And that's just the first of the year. We haven't even hit E3 and what's going to be coming for the fall, Right.
We have some serious first world problems going on right now.
For real.
All right, Julius, are you playing anything other than Halo?
Hey, I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up, but yes, I am playing something other than Halo.
Oh my God!
Still playing Halo 5 though. But me and my crew, we got back into the Division.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
How's that working out for you?
Oh, it's great. I realized I was higher up than I was when I stopped playing it, and I'm at level 26 now. Actually popped my Dark Zone cherry the other day.
Wow.
It was scary, but hey, you know what? We persevered, and I think I'm a level 30 in Dark Zone, which is like a drop in the hat compared to other people that I know.
Level 30 in the Dark Zone. That is so cute.
Yeah, and playing Battlefield 1.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at you branching out and playing other games and stuff.
Branching out. But you know what got me back into the Division is...
No, I really don't. I'm really looking forward to hearing what it must have been, though. Please, the floor is yours.
Well, it was one of those things where I was like, this was part of my backlog. It was next to the Halo button in my pinned items, and I hit it, and I was like, I'm already loading it, and might as well. And then 3 of my other friends were playing. I'm like, hey, let's squad up and let's go. And 6 hours later, we rank up, and the rest is history. So, but I love the changes. I love the atmosphere of New York and how it changes. And Yeah,
You're going to
there's
be the
some-
only person I've ever heard say, I love the atmosphere of New York and the division
I've been
in one
well,
sentence.
in the division, not in real life. Just kidding. Love New York. But no, yeah, like as we progressed through a bunch of side missions, and then we finished the Grand Central Station mission. I was like, this is awesome. Like being in there with the fight and like healing guys and reviving them, and then throwing out seeker mines and just seeing the mayhem and chaos. It brought back the fun for me.
Well, that's lovely. I mean, you actually genuinely sound excited about playing the division. I'm not entirely sure I've heard anybody with any enthusiasm in their voice when it comes to the division for probably the last 7 months. So that's great.
There you go. I'm playing that as soon as I'm done here. So
excellent. You and 3 other people are keeping that server alive. I'm proud of you.
It's like spotting a unicorn.
Right.
Ubisoft, if you're listening.
Division.
Yeah. I mean, single-handedly, Ubisoft, you need to acknowledge the fact that we keep some of your servers alive. I mean, we did it with Assassin's Creed.
That's right.
Without giveaways.
I'm doing it with Siege. I'm doing it with Siege too.
Wow. You know what I find amusing about you is that you seem to get into these games just when like everybody else is, I'm done. Like I'm done. I've deleted it from my console. Everybody's walked away. It's like, you know, you're walking through one of those old country western sort of areas, and you know, sand everywhere, and there's tumbleweed coming down the street, and here comes Julius with his mates. They're like, we're here, we're ready.
Damn it, we bring the party back.
You guys ever played the Division?
And all 3 of them go, yeah.
Wow.
Hey, keep it alive, Julius. Keep it alive, man.
I will. At least it's not Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Hey, this is true. As you know, like a year ago, if we had that conversation, you and I would now be having about a half-hour debate about why you need to shut the hell up about Call of Duty. But please, by all means, feel free to call it out for the piece of crap that it has now turned into.
Which is so
and
crazy.
And more power to anybody who enjoys it. That's good for you. But
that's so crazy to hear, because yeah, like some months ago, I would have never spoken ill of Call of Duty at all for risk of like having the death grip reach me from Australia. You know?
The bounty would have been put out.
Serious, man. Like it's like, you Eric Jackson? Yeah. It's like hard. You know? Yeah.
Oh dear.
The love affair is over, it seems.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you read my breakup letter to Call of Duty.
I did.
We are divorced.
That was
It
serious
has been
stuff.
done. Mm-hmm. I took my favorite kids. I took Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2, and
she
you can
said,
have the rest.
To the left. To the left.
That's right. Everything else you own is in that box.
Get your crap and get up out of here.
Yeah, don't let your laggy server kick you in the ass on the way out the door. So anyway, yeah, Call of Duty and I, we be done. We be done. So it's sad, but it had to happen. Sam.
Yep.
Mr. Brother of Rivia, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing over the past few weeks? Being late on the whole Final Fantasy train, but better late than never. I just got... Yeah, all right. You've given me enough crap for it already. You and John both.
No, not really. No.
I finally...
But wait, but Sam, you were late. You were late by like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Right.
It's not like I was late by like 2 months or anything like that. It wasn't that bad.
Uh-huh.
But I maxed it out 100%. Got every single thing done. I'm very happy about that.
What level?
Awesome, man.
What level were you at when you got your platinum or your 1,000?
61.
Okay, that's not too bad. It's not too bad. That's good.
70 hours.
Yeah, but I think that there's
yo.
probably a lot more time that you could have gotten out of that before finishing it. But everybody needs to play that game the way they want to play it. It's so flexible. You can spend hundreds of hours doing a little bit of everything, or you can spend a small block of time being very story driven and working towards a goal. And yeah, it's really nice to have a game like that where you can just do it however you want. You don't have to play it the way someone else wants. But yeah, I do feel like that there was probably a little bit more that you could have gotten from it. But I assume that now that you've finished your game, you're going to go back through and convert the regalia into the Batmobile and go and do that super hard secret dungeon on the volcano.
I will. I'm trying to get a couple of shorter games out of my backlog first. Just a little bit, just a little temporary. I'm accomplishing something, even though in the grand scheme of things, grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean anything. Then I'll go back and I'll play New Game Plus, all that sort of good stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm handling it also. It's like 70 hours for me, with, all over the place. I felt that was a pretty good accomplishment in finishing it when I did. But I said, you know what, there's enough here for me to come back.
Yeah. And I mean, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The story, the world, the bros. It was fantastic. I know a lot of people complain about some of the story events in the latter half, but for me, it was really enjoyable. Though I do have to say, screw Chapter 13 and the horse it rode in on.
Oh my God, that shit was savage. I wanted to gouge my eyes out by the time I was done. I got like halfway through Chapter 13. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm about to turn this game off, thinking that I'm just about done. And then it just keeps going. And then you're like, okay, I've finished this part. It has to be the end of the chapter. Nope, keeps going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I kept saying. I was like, all right, here we go. This feels like the end. Oh, it's not the end.
Right?
It's complete refuge in audacity, because it's like, it's not just one or two or three bad things. They somehow managed to destroy every idea of good gameplay and level design, all in one chapter when the rest of the game is fantastic. I'm like, what? Someone played this and approved it.
Sam, that must have been the student project chapter.
I guess some poor intern.
But that and Castle Mark Tower can both go.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That tower.
Plus, I got another glitch in that tower where the camera got stuck behind Knock the whole time.
Oh, ow!
And I'm not starting this over. I will deal with this shit. This crappy camera, and it'll stay stuck, and I'll figure it out. And I got through it. I still got through the level, because once I got to the bottom, where you start meeting like all the different beasts that come at you to not really spoil anything, but the camera like righted itself again. But going through the mazes and fighting within the mazes, it was stuck behind him the whole time. That's
horrible.
Yeah, it was really rough. I'm surprised I got through it.
Too. Yeah. For me, I solved about like 95% of the tower. I was on the last elevator puzzle, like the last little piece of that, and then all of a sudden, it just wouldn't go any further. The block stuck.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nasty. That's nasty. The worst that I had happen, and it wasn't a glitch, so it wasn't the game's fault. The worst I had happen was twice. I was fighting a certain level 99 boss that you have to beat to get your platinum or your 1000, depending on the platform you're playing it on. Yep. And so I'm sitting there for like a solid 2 hours playing the dullest boss fight of my freaking life.
Yeah.
And I get the turtle's life down to like a quarter left to go. And my controller goes flat. So I'm scrambling, like I'm in a state of panic right now. I'm like looking for batteries. My battery charger's empty. I can't find the cord for my controller. Like I'm looking around everywhere. I'm like, I don't need batteries. I'm not on Xbox, on the PlayStation. I need a cord. I need a cord.
Does anyone have a cord?
Right? So use the battery, controller goes flat. You look for batteries. So by the time I found the cord and plugged it in, Noctis was dead. And so I just sort of sat there with this like blank expression on my face, deciding whether I was going to scream, cry, or break something. And instead, I just picked up the controller and started it again.
Aww.
And so, God, what happened the second time? So I got about 2/3. Oh, that's what happened. I got about 2/3 of the way through killing him, and I think my phone rang. No, I had a message come through and I looked down and I looked at the message and it was actually quite an important message. So like I'm just, because, I've been instinctively for an hour and a half now pressing the same buttons. So I'm just doing that one-handed and I'm replying to my text. And I look up and I'm dead. I'm like, what? How? It's been like 3 seconds. How? So I don't even know what went on. But that's a collection of about 4.5 hours that I sunk into not beating that boss fight. So the following morning, I jumped up and I did it again. It took me like, 2 or so hours or something. But yeah, it was horrible. Yeah. It was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, all of a sudden, I don't feel so bad that it simply took me an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, like you're very lucky because it could have gone very, very badly.
Yeah, 'cause I told you guys it glitched on me too. Like I got it down to where I couldn't even see any more color in the bar. Like it was almost probably like a few more hits and it was going to be a wrap. And it all of a sudden it glitched and threw me like a mile away.
Oh god!
Outside of the fight. So I immediately knew it was over, but I tried my best to get back. And it was just like, yeah, the hunt is over. I was like, all right, it's time to go to bed. We'll regroup tomorrow.
Yeah, he's sitting there all like.
Yeah, exactly. You saw it happen, Chewie. You know what's going on.
Oh dear. Yeah, that boss fight, like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And there are other level 99 fights in that game that are actually engaging, that are challenging. I don't understand why they didn't make you do one of those to get your platinum or your 1000 instead of the total one. But hey, it was what it was. And I think, that plus chapter 13 are kind of like rites of passage.
Mm-hmm.
If you can gut those out, then you damn well deserve your platinum.
Yeah.
It was rough going. Yeah, it was.
It definitely was.
So I guess that leaves what I've been playing. Obviously, a lot of Final Fantasy. I played the crap out of that. In 3 weeks, as I was off work over that block of time, I put in 200 hours. 211 hours and something minutes over 3 weeks. So yeah, there was a lot of hours played on that game. I think the record I held for the most amount of hours played in one day on that was 16 hours from when I worked to when I went to sleep. Yeah, I was putting in that work. Absolutely love Final Fantasy. I even love it for the stuff that we didn't enjoy doing at the time, but now reflecting back on it, it's like I was saying, it's kind of like a rite of passage. It's like that. I don't think anybody here has been through the secret dungeon that you can only do after the game's finished. Yeah.
No.
Okay, so take every single raid and not raid. What are they called?
Hunt
in Destiny. No, in Destiny, they're the raids, right?
Vault. Yeah, I guess the raids.
Yeah, so take every single jump puzzle that you've ever done in Destiny, right? Take chapter 13, put them in a bucket, and just add like a whole heap of evil and nastiness, and then you have this dungeon, which takes the average person roughly 7 hours from when you walk in the door to when you're able to walk back out again.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah. Eric's like, well, I won't be going there.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
It's actually worth just going there and like sticking your head in the door for 5 minutes to just have a look at the kind of puzzles and stuff. Because as you know, you can always return to entrance at any time.
Right.
But it is definitely worth going up there, just poking your head in the door, having a look around. It's like, hello, anyone home? It is horrific. And they managed to change up the style of jump puzzle quite frequently too. So you'll just get used to like a certain sort of platform jumping or, certain timing that, these dark evil spears come out the wall. And so you'll get used to all of that, and then they change it up and it's completely different. So there's no consistency in it. So you're not able to get comfortable. You're constantly relearning how you have to get through each area. And then at one point, they even turn it into a 2D side scroller.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, you're playing it through this, this 2D realm where you have walls in front of you. And as you walk behind them, oh, there's no floor. I just fell to my death. How was I to know that? I don't, but I do now. So you go through again, you jump over that, you get to the next area, and then it's like, okay, I just got speared to death. Again, from behind a wall that I can't see behind because it's 2D. So it's like Flappy Bird. Yeah, it's painful. It is really painful. But it is one of those things that once. Sorry.
I really hate it when games don't give you like a chance
all crackly.
Sorry. I really hate it when games. What up?
Stop! You're all crackly.
Really?
Yeah, really.
All right, hold on.
Okay. I really hate when his stuff goes all crackly. Yeah. So, yeah, those things are like rites of passage. I think at the time you absolutely hate doing them. They're horrific. But once you get to the end of them, like the sense of accomplishment is amazing. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I, for some reason, am still playing this War of Mine. It came out for free this month on PlayStation, so I ended up getting it on there as well. And I keep defaulting back to that game. I don't know why, because I've beat it like 50 times, but I keep playing it. And yeah, it's such a good game.
It's a great game.
Yeah, I love it. But more importantly, and more recently, I played Resident Evil 7 on PSVR. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun. Am I crackling?
Yep. Stop uploading porn.
I'm not. I'm going to change my tone.
Okay, you do that. So, yeah, it's Resident Evil. Oh, my God. Okay, that game in VR manages to literally make you feel the fear in the pit of your stomach. If you can, for anybody who hasn't experienced VR, if you can imagine, instead of sitting in front of your television playing the game and you can see the rest of your familiar room around you in your peripheral vision, that no longer exists. The rest of your peripheral vision is the room of the game. You are inside that game. So you're dealing with a mix of well-placed jump scares, but more specifically, a much deeper feeling of dread that's put in you by the fact that a lot of the time you don't know where the person that is hunting you is, or when someone's going to come out from around a corner and start chasing you with a chainsaw, or some black thing's going to materialize out of a wall and like gouge your eyes out, and just all this kind of nastiness, constant nastiness. There's no relief from the nastiness in Resident Evil 7. It is horrific, and it is fantastic, and I loved every minute of it. I actually, so not last night, but the night before was my second night playing it. I'd played about 4 hours the day before, and so I sat down with my VR headset on about, I think it was about 6 p.m., and by the time that I had finished and got the announcement that I'd actually completed the game, it was midnight. So I pushed through for 6 hours the other night and finished that off.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's lucky that I did, because I was so dog tired, I was actually able to sleep. But it's fantastic for anybody who is on the fence a little bit about whether it's going to be a genuinely scary game or whether it's going to be a little bit of a cliche kind of mashup. It really isn't. They've done justice to the franchise. It's a fantastic game. And if you have VR and you don't play it in VR mode, you're selling yourself short. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is a phenomenal game. My review is actually out today about it.
Excellent.
I have to read it.
I didn't play it in VR, but I played on my computer. But it is a phenomenal game. Like, I can't imagine what it's like in VR, because it was already terrifying just playing it. Looking at my screen. I mean, you not gonna give spoilers, but like, there's a certain room about halfway through the game in the old house. You know the one I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And the tension and the dread that just builds and builds and builds.
Yeah,
and
you find yourself
starts
crouching
creeping
down in your seat. You don't even realize it, but all of a sudden you're like, why am I crouched down nearly on the floor?
Mm-hmm. That was awesome.
It really was. It really was. I was thoroughly impressed with it. There weren't any parts of the game, like, you know how sometimes generally in a game there'll be that one section where you're like, why did they do this? Or this is so boring, or can't I just skip this? There was none of that in that game. In fact, the more I played it, the more I felt that it was continuing to ramp up.
Right. The pacing was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought so. I enjoyed it. I did. So I work for a bunch of psychologists, and I go into work the other day, and they're like, "What did you do last night?" I'm like, "I played Resident Evil 7 in VR," and they're like, "All right, come sit on the couch." What is wrong with you, woman?
No, I'm looking forward to playing it. I mean, I won't be playing it in VR. I don't have a VR set or anything like that, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I want to be in the party with you when you play like the first hour. It's gonna be hilarious. We'll share play. Are you getting it on PlayStation or Xbox?
I don't know yet. Honestly, I'm probably might just pick it up on PS4.
Yeah,
So
well,
I
I mean,
can,
the
like,
thing is
so I-
you can share play it if you do that.
Right. Yeah, because my cousin has a PS4, so I might want to share play with him. Because I don't think he'll pick it up, you know.
Yeah, and SharePlay, I think SharePlay is like one of the most underrated features on any console out at the moment. It is just a brilliant feature.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that
Yeah.
you can actually jump online and play a game with someone else, you don't own the game. They own the game. You're SharePlay with them, and you're both playing a game together. I think it's brilliant. And you can do that for hours and hours and hours.
No, that's an awesome feature.
It most certainly is. So now that we've established that we've all been playing a lot of video games lately, why don't we move into our first subject matter? So Fox launches a new gaming division with AR and VR content. Now I'm sure you've all read up on this, yes?
I wrote it.
Well, I know you wrote it. I assume Eric and Julius, are you back? Have you fixed your crackle?
Julius?
Almost, he says.
Almost. Okay. It's like, my pawn's nearly done uploading. Good work, Julius. All right. So, Sam, why don't you take us away on this and your thoughts on it and what you think that we can expect from this?
Okay. So let's see. What day was that? When did that happen? That was not too long ago. That was on January 18th. Fox, I mean, we all know who they are. Media juggernaut, to say the absolute least. They own God knows how many film studios and news stations and things like that. They are moving into the video game realm. They are opening a new studio called Fox Next, and it's focused in particular around creating AR, which is augmented reality, and VR, virtual reality experiences. The Alien franchise was specifically mentioned as the technology in Alien Isolation was being used for one of their tech demos, I believe. They're also going to be doing some theme park locations, but that's a bit off on the side. There aren't really any other details beyond that, but I think it's very interesting that, you know, you see a film juggernaut like them finally moving into that space.
Right. No, that's kind of telling, you know, about where some of the future of the tech, you know, where it could be going, you know, as far as excuse me. No, I'm saying it's interesting because I know some people you talk to, they feel like VR is a fad, it's dead or whatever, and I've always kind of felt VR is going to be a long game, not an instant success, but a long game.
There's a slow burn for sure.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
The technology needs to become more affordable for the average person to be able to pick up, and then you'll see things like it be going mainstream. Because that's the reason I don't have PSVR yet. I would love to, but it just doesn't quite fit in my budget. But the moment it does, I'll happily pick one up.
Yeah, and even at it
being
considered, you know, the more value friendly, you know, version of it, it's still expensive.
Right.
You know? And I think along with price, I think as it becomes more streamlined, as the tech gets better, as it's not as cumbersome, you know, to access and hook up, you know, I think that also factor into it also as well.
Yeah, and I mean, the other issue that we have as well is there just aren't a lot of development studios out there in the moment with the resources and the money to be able to dedicate a part of their team as being the VR division. And also releasing titles like, for example, with what Capcom have done with Resident Evil 7, you buy the game once and you get both versions. You can play it in VR or you can play the standard version. Or if you want, you can switch back and forth between those two versions all day long because the story carries over from exactly where you last saved, which I think is brilliant. But a lot of studios don't have those resources at the moment. So the experiences and games that we get to play on VR are actually quite limited. And that really in itself does put a lot of people in a position where they're like, well, am I really going to go out and spend this kind of money to play 6 games? Probably not.
Right. Especially because one of the best, in my opinion, just got the axe. Gorilla Cambridge.
Well, yeah, because Riggs is probably one of the better, more successful, I guess.
Riggs is my favorite.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, there's definitely something to that. That was a pretty shocking thing when they closed Gorilla.
Yeah.
So I don't know who else they have lined up as far as development for VR. But when someone develops, an IP that's actually well received, it's kind of an odd play.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
There we go. So this isn't Fox's first time, though, in the video game realm.
No, it's not. But it is their first time combining video games and AR and VR.
Right. But hopefully they don't bring back Independence Day.
Ew.
What was wrong with Independence Day?
The video game?
Yeah.
On the original PlayStation sucked.
God, maybe I didn't play enough of it to remember, but I don't.
It was bad. I played on the
remember it being that
PlayStation,
bad.
and then they released the PC version, and it was horrible.
Yeah, right. There you go.
But I played their Die Hard series on PC and in the arcade, and that was cool.
Oh, I remember playing that.
Mm.
It was glitchy as hell.
Yeah. But what would be awesome is to see an AR VR version of Aliens.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh yeah!
I would play the shit out of that. That would be awesome.
I just wanted to take a couple steps back because I had a couple of comments when you were talking about Resident Evil 7 VR. Was there any point where during a jump scare that you just wanted to turn and run and like disconnect your VR? Because to me, like I had a little VR experience the other day, and I'm like, man, like I'm sitting in my chair, and something came out and jumped at me, and I was like, man, I just want to get out of here. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm sitting, like I don't have to run, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be my concern. Is like getting so immersed in the game and then just turning and whipping my PSVR out the window.
I think the point that I realized that I was literally sucked in to the entire world and genuinely felt like I was right there was when I realized that I was sitting down on the ground in front of the TV because my cable doesn't stretch far enough to go all the way back to my couch. So I'm sitting down this hardwood floor and I have the fan on behind me. So every now and again I have the air going back across the back of my neck, which doesn't help when you're playing Resident Evil in VR. Pardon me. And so I realized, like, I actually ended up pulling my headset up. I had crouched down so far, so I'm sitting there with my legs crossed. I had crouched down and forward so far that my elbows were actually almost touching the ground. And I'd been holding my breath to the point where I was nearly about to pass out because this person was right there. I'm like hiding behind this, this big block of boxes, and you sort of have to like creep around them as they're walking around the other side to, exactly what I'm talking about, Sam, so that she doesn't see you.
Yep.
And so I'm like crouched down literally in my own lounge room, looking up, trying to watch where she's going. And I'm holding my breath. I was like, oh my God. Okay. I can breathe. It's fine. She can't hear me breathe. And pardon me, as soon as I did that, she turned around and looked at me. I'm like, how did you hear me? But it was because I wasn't focusing on where I was hiding anymore. I was actually focusing on sitting back up and breathing and trying to make myself realize that I wasn't in the game. It is okay. I'm not about to die. And so by doing that, I made this fatal mistake. She saw me. I died.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you find the cord being a limitation? Obviously not in this case. Did I find the which a limitation, sorry? The cord being tethered.
Oh, absolutely not. So the beautiful thing about the way that they sit that is it actually runs down your back. So you don't have a cord in front of you. You're not constantly feeling it sort of in your way. It runs down your back and then around in front again. So it's a well-placed cord, and it is quite a long cord as well, but it's just not long enough for me to be able to sit on my couch and play, which I don't mind. The thing is with the way that they have the majority of these games set up, is you don't need to move. The only thing you need to move is your head. And if you want to swivel around and check out what's behind you, you have enough length on that cord to be able to do so without it, without feeling like you're going to pull something out of the console.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You also just want to kind of bring up the fact too that in Resident Evil 7 you have, I don't know if you can say it's the first time that you have an experience that is actually a full-fledged game and not just like an experience, or where people will kind of say it's really only meant for short bursts, like 30 minutes to an hour. So can you speak on that? Can you say, like, how did you feel playing it at length? Or did you kind of take breaks in between, those for like bursts or whatever?
So with the installation of the game, because I had it digitally, you get, as you'll know, you'll get a break in the installation. So there'll be that first portion that'll install, and then they're like, right, you can play this, you can do the tutorial, you can do X, while Y continues to download. So the first night, I was only able to play that intro section, which takes about an hour to get through. So once that was done, obviously I had to wait until the following day for it to finish installing. So it was only the 1 hour under the headset the first time. The second day, I think I played for about 2 hours until I felt like I was actually going to be sick. And that is the first time playing anything on VR that I've had any experience with it causing nausea. Outside of that, I've had slight little bits of dizziness for like when I'm playing rigs, because that is like the most movement intensive game you will ever play on VR. It's fantastic. And I was fine with that. Like I didn't feel sick at all, but the way that they make the controls work in RE7 on VR is a little bit clunky. So you're not moving fluidly as you turn a corner. You're actually kind of jolting as you move around a corner. So that, when you do that for a couple of hours, your eyes are always trying to focus, and so you're moving in a way that's not natural. So that is what I think brought on the nausea itself as well, coupled with the fact that the resolution on the PSVR isn't exactly the greatest. It is grainy. And so your eyes are constantly always trying to focus because what you're looking at isn't 100% clear. And 2 hours with all of that combined, and I had to take it off, and I lost a bit of progress because I couldn't find a tape deck. I've been trying to find a tape deck for about 15 minutes as I could feel that I was getting towards the end of my ability to stay on it that day, and so I lost a bit of progress because of that, and wasn't able to play anything for a good couple of hours afterwards because I couldn't even look at the TV. Like I couldn't watch anything. I just needed to be in the real world for a while and let my equilibrium level back out again, because it was pretty rough. But by having stuck through that 2 hours and getting to that stage the following day, I was able to play for 6 hours with only like 5-minute breaks every 1 or 2 hours, just to go and get another glass of wine or get up and move around, because my butt was going numb from sitting on the hardwood floor. But all in all, like I think a lot of people, the problem they have with VR is they don't get themselves to the point where they've actually pushed a little bit further. They make their body put up with a bit of discomfort so that you can get used to it, so that your brain goes, okay, this is how this works, and it's actually not a bad thing, and yes, we can deal with that. They don't allow themselves to level out. As soon as they start feeling a little bit of discomfort, like, oh no, I'm done. Whereas I tend to push through, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm going to be sick. I know I'm not, so I'm just going to push through for a little bit longer. And so you get your body used to it, and that's why I'm able to spend stupid numbers of hours underneath that headset.
Gotcha.
So that was a very long answer to your very short question.
No, it's a good answer. Because,
I have a tech question, if you don't mind us lingering on this subject a bit longer.
Sure.
How was the frame rate? Because I know frame rate is integral to making sure that, VR doesn't cause nausea or anything like that. So
I had no issues with the frame rate at all. The only issue that I had with the VR version of the game versus the standard version of the game, because now that I finished it, I'm actually going back through and playing the standard version, is from playing the VR version and then starting off run number 2 standard, I was like, holy shit, this game's really beautiful. And you don't really get to see that fine detail in the game, in the VR version of it. particularly if you're looking at things off in the distance. Now, that isn't a big problem a lot because, as you know, the entire game is basically in an enclosed space. So that's not a big issue, but it is certainly something that you do notice when you're not playing it in VR. And the other thing that you notice is that the lighting in the game is dramatically different as well. And that also comes back to, an issue with graphic fidelity and the resolution with the headset. However, having said that, the resolution of the headset and the experience that you get is clear enough and it's what's a good way of saying it? It's like, yes, it's still a little bit grainy. Yes, it's slightly blurry, but it's still good enough that you can still genuinely believe you're in that room. And when you have people like right up in your face, A, it looks clear, and B, you're not focusing on the resolution. You're focusing on trying to not get your face eaten.
I can't imagine that scene early on in VR. Ugh.
Oh, and with the hand and the stump and the staples.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was pretty horrifying. Oh, and to make matters worse, right? So I'm playing this game, and at some point, so I have quite a small downstairs area as far as where I can see the sliding door for the backyard and my front door. And my front door is behind where I sit to game. And it was a really, really hot day, so I had both of those doors completely open. And I actually had the screen doors open too, so the cats could go, like one wanted to go out the front, and the other wanted to go out the back. So at one point during this game, I'm like getting chased and hunted, and I can hear my heartbeat in the game. I can feel my own heartbeat. And then I realize I'm under the VR headset and I have my doors open. I was like, I went into this state of panic. I'm like, oh my God. I pulled the headset off, and I'm like looking over my shoulder, expecting someone to be there with an axe. I was like,
Wow.
They were gonna rob you, but then they saw you playing Resident Evil, and then they were like, "Hey, this is cool."
The funny thing is, you get so immersed into it, right? And so you have 360-degree directional headset that comes with it. So you can hear the noise coming from everywhere. So basically, like, I have that shit turned right up. I want to get the most maximum experience out of it I possibly can. I wouldn't be surprised if one day when I'm playing a game like that in VR, if I take my headset off and, like, there's nothing left in the house. Like, I've been robbed blind and didn't even know. The only thing left is my TV and the VR.
That's another type of gaming experience.
Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. Oh dear. All right. So all in all, though, we are quite excited about the possibility of what Fox is going to bring into the gaming division with AR and VR content. We know that they typically release really quality stuff, and obviously, if companies like that are starting to get into the VR realm, obviously VR isn't the flop that everybody's saying that it is. There's momentum there, and I'm excited about it. Probably because I own a VR headset and I would really like more games to play on it. So,
I would love a compelling reason to put the money out there on it right now. Even
Rigs,
so the more companies to get into this.
Enough. Like, I would be okay if the only thing I had on VR was Rigs. It's such a good game.
Yeah, I'm just like, I like to try this.
Sorry, can you please come back from the opposite side of the neighborhood so we can hear you?
I'm right in front of my mic.
Are you?
Yeah.
And well, we can hear you now.
Okay.
What was your question?
No, I'm disappointed they shuttered that studio.
Yeah, well, that's a whole another conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this makes me, in that regard, it just makes me wonder what their strategy is. Like, what do they have lined up if they, if in fact they get more units back on shelves too? Because I heard that's also an issue, that they're having a supply chain issue.
Yeah, well, you've also got to think that there's been a rather large merger happen between that company and another company lately. You know of whom I speak, and I can see where their focus would now be, and why they would be looking at, right, what resources are we using where, and where should they be? Are these resources bringing us enough income and generating enough traction for our company, or should we be putting them over here with like one of the biggest masterminds in the gaming industry? Yeah, let's do that. So I can see how that came about. I don't want to get into it because I think there's just well too much speculation around what's going on. So I think we will just skim over it, and once we know a little bit more, we can talk about it.
Speculate?
No, I don't like speculating. You know I fucking hate speculation. Sorry for my French. He made me do it. He brought up that dirty S word.
It's the cornerstone of Twitter.
No, I hate speculation. Ugh.
I don't mind discussions. I don't care about constant speculation.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So anyway, moving on.
Yes. Gabe Newell holds an AMA, talks about Valve, the future of games, and actually he gave out quite a few hints about things that are happening. #Half-Life. So what are our thoughts on this? Like, particularly, I think we might start with Sam, because you're, out of all of us, you're the only one who actually plays on PC. The rest of us play on real gaming platforms. I mean, we play on consoles. So what are your thoughts on that?
I have consoles too. And I actually spend more time on I'm just messing with you. I'm amazed that he actually went onto Reddit and answered any questions. I mean, in the last few years, Gabe Newell is a bit infamous for, not exactly being in the public spotlight per se.
Right.
So him being open about this, being open about, some of the things Valve is trying to work on, even if some of his answers were a little limited, like his admission that, yeah, okay, we need to do something about our support. It's our response times aren't where they need to be. That's a big step, because Steam, as much love as they get, there's no denying the fact that when it comes to customer service or feedback and just clear communication as to what they are working on at that particular time, I mean, they're lacking there. So this is a big step, I think, for not just him, but the company as a whole in their communication with their customers. And evidently they are working on new games, new single-player games, even though they haven't come out with one in quite a few years now. So I don't know. The proof will be in the pudding, I guess. We'll just have to see what they come out with.
Why do you think now? Like now, what brings him out of his usual, seclusive state?
That's a more important question, I think. Yeah.
Like, was there a shift at Valve? Is there something, changing like their strategy? Did he lose a bet during the playoffs?
Or is it sleight of hand? It's like, I got you looking over here so you don't see what we're doing over here.
Right.
Well, you said you hate speculation, so I'm not sure if I should give my thoughts on that or not. But it is possible they see Microsoft actually making good on some of their promises to look into the PC gaming space. Microsoft was infamous for saying that for several years. Oh, we care about PC gaming. No one took them seriously. And then in the last year and a half, they've actually made good on quite a bit of that. They've been doing a lot. They've been adding a lot of first-party titles to the Windows Store and things like that. Yeah, exactly.
Valve now have a real powerhouse stepping into their realm. They're like, hey, this is our neighborhood. We didn't go into yours. Why are you coming into mine?
So in terms of pure speculation, I'd say that's what it is. They're like, oh, crap, we can't just sit here and make money off of Steam sales anymore.
Right. And while, I guess, and not being that I spend a lot of time in the Windows Store, I've heard other people talk about experiences in there. While it's maybe not the perfect animal yet, you can't sit and take that for granted.
Right. Because it's going to get better. It is getting better.
Right.
Resident Evil is the first AAA title that wasn't developed by Microsoft that's on the store. Others are going to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, that's a very good thought, because something made him move. He's like the Adamantinoid. It's like, I don't move. I just sit here and I'm a huge mountain.
All right. I'm just gonna let you grind this out for 3 hours.
Here comes Microsoft in the form of 4 guys in leather, ready to.
Oh my god.
Assless chaps.
No.
Oh my god.
Just no. No.
That's DLC costumes for the guys in the future.
Ugh, horrible. Speaking of DLC stuff and that, did anybody take on the festival boss in Final Fantasy over the weekend?
No, did not.
You got to beat the boss of Square Enix. It was pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they added him as a boss into the game. Like oh my god, it's fantastic. I when I first heard that was what they were doing, I was like, that is so stupid. But then when you take a step back and think about like how often that actually happens in games and how careful larger studios like that usually play things, and they actually did this really fun, light-hearted addition to the game, and I really respected and enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It was refreshing.
Very cool.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So it looks like Valve is putting themselves into a position where they want to be a little bit more noticed than what they previously have been, because they generally do take a bit of a backseat. They just get away. It's like everybody goes to work and they just do their thing and they drink their cappuccinos and they go home again. No big song and dance, no huge big Twitterverse, back and forth console wars, PC Master Race. They don't get involved in any of that. Everybody just goes to work, taps away on their keyboard, and gets their job done. But it seems like Valve now is like, well, maybe we do need to start putting a little bit more of a social presence out there, because we are now in direct competition. Whereas before, we didn't really have to worry so much about that. Everything in our space was just kind of working like clockwork. Now, yeah, maybe we do need to step up and start becoming a little bit more loved and have people feel like they can approach us and ask us questions. So I thought that was really noteworthy that happened. And maybe we're going to see a little bit more from Gabe Newell.
I hope so. I really do.
Yeah, because he has a little bit of personality about him, you know what I mean? Like, he's cheeky. He's quite cheeky and very sarcastic. And anybody who knows me knows that I love sarcasm. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I don't know. No.
So, yeah. All right. Good work, Gabe Newell. Good work.
See you, Gabe.
So, moving on, so we don't draw this out for too long. Nintendo Switch. Was this the last straw? What do we think about the reveal of the console, the price, and the peripherals?
1-2 Switch.
Oh, no, we're not going to talk about that game. I mean, the peripherals, when I saw that, I'm like, no, this is typical Nintendo. They thrive on pushing their hardware on you after you've bought their hardware. Like, Microsoft took a page out of their playbook and had, hey, we've got new controllers here for you to buy. But I don't know. It's the size of the Joy-Con controllers. I'm gonna have to wait until I actually get them into my hands, because I've got big hands and I don't want to get cramped up playing these things, and they look really tiny.
Yeah, that's right. That's one of the first things I said too. I don't know. I mean, you guys know I'm a huge Nintendo fan, and the reveal was not very good. Just, it was boring. I think I'm going to get a Switch eventually. I'm just not there day one. But I wasn't there day one for the Wii U or the Wii, to be honest with you. So I kind of like wait until later, and then I'll kind of pick some things up. The price is a little bullish, considering their position and what they're doing. But they said that they're not going to sell this thing at a loss, but that could also be to their detriment, over the long haul. Because I just see them making a lot of the same stumbles initially that they kind of made with the Wii U. With the Wii, they did a lot of advertising. They kind of explained what it was. They pushed it, and they kind of Trojan horsed it with, Wii Sports, and got like a lot of word of mouth going. Wii U, I think they just assumed like a lot of people would just be on board because of the Wii. And I'm kind of seeing the same thing happening with the Switch. Like, the only people really talking about it and selling out pre-orders are those in the know and the hardcore. But again, those are not who you want. You can say the same thing about Sony and Microsoft. As much as the hardcore argue back and forth over certain things on Twitter, like Power and Scorpio and Pro and all this stuff, that kind of thing doesn't matter to the casual. And the casuals are who these companies need and want to appeal to. So yeah, Nintendo's not going to make it on the hardcore. They need those people who came out for the Wii. And I don't know if they're going to grab them with this, especially in a world where most families have a tablet, cell phone, and everything else that their kids play on,
Yeah, which apparently mine's going flat.
I was like, what was that?
So I'm excited by it.
It's out there now. It's in the public realm. I am back on Apple.
Ew.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Hey, come on! I had a Nexus 6. I had a beast of a phone, and then I kind of dropped it repeatedly, and it's
Nexus phones are awesome.
It's
You
dead.
abused it.
I didn't do it on purpose. It was just. Anyway, we're not going to get into what happened to my mobile phone. Not live, anyway. I think for me, the concerning factor here is that we have a new console launching into the market, and regardless of the hardware, regardless of the controllers or how much it's going to cost, all of that is superfluous to a great games lineup. If you have a great games lineup, people are going to overlook a lot of other things that normally they would be picking apart, like we are about the Switch now, because we have the absence of a great games lineup for launch.
Yep.
And that is the issue. Yes, Zelda's going to be fantastic. Yes, there's some Pokemon stuff coming out, not the Pokemon that anybody wants, but it's coming out. Yes, there's going to be some Mario, not exactly the Mario that everybody wants, but there will be some Mario. And you see where I'm going with that. They're using a few key titles, which are very important titles to have on the Switch, but they're using that as the staple of, well, we have these franchises that are going to be available there, and there will be stuff in the future, and we are developing more, which is fantastic. But when you're launching a new console, if you really want that to be successful, if you want a big uptake, a lot of early adapters, there needs to be an impressive games lineup to justify to people why they're spending the amount of money they are on that device. It's the same issue that we had with PSVR. Now, unlike Nintendo Switch, PSVR actually launched with 50 games within the 2 months that it came out. 50 games. So that was very well done. That was a company that sat down, had a look at their core demographic, had a look at what we want, the games that we're playing, and they made sure that there was something for everybody. Nintendo don't seem to be doing that with the Switch, and they're putting out their product and their peripherals at well too high a price to entice anybody in the absence of a great games lineup to go and spend that kind of money. And that is what concerns me about the Switch right now.
Yeah. And unlike Sony or Microsoft, they can't rely on third parties just supporting them because they'll get the market share.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
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 So yeah, a lot of it is like wait and see, and like Aussie Gamer saying, he said like he wants one, but he's hearing it sold out. At launch. It has the pre-orders have been selling out, but also it's not like they're overstocking pre-orders either.
Is it like 100,000 the first run or something like that?
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, like I said, on one hand, Nintendo beats to their own drum. You can kind of applaud that, but on the other, it always seems to be to their detriment in some way. And then you also have them out there saying that they plan to sell 40 million in 3 years, and I'm like, wow, really?
You do something we don't, evidently.
Yeah, kind of like, and again, this is me talking as a Nintendo fan, but you have to keep it real. It's very, a lot of ways, it seems like the Wii 2.0. Like what they maybe wanted the Wii to be from day one. So obviously they really believe in that. But
yeah, I think it's what the Wii U should have been.
Yeah, that's what the Wii U should have been from jump. So yes, I don't know. For me, it's a wait and see, just for the titles that will be coming like later down the road. Yeah, they have some things that I want to see them do first. Like I want to see them answer, the Metroid question, things like that. Like we know Zelda will be there. We know Mario will be there. Fire Emblem is like a hit for them again, so it wasn't surprising that there was a Fire Emblem Direct. Answer the question that people have been asking for a long time, like where's Metroid?
Federation Force 2.
Oh man.
You know what I want? All I want on my Switch is bass fishing. That's all I want.
I have it in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, well, why do you think I played the hell out of Final Fantasy? I believe that I actually have the known recorded record for the biggest fish caught in that game, which is up on our YouTube channel, which you can find at Real Game Media via YouTube. And yeah,
you do.
Biggest fish caught.
I can't. I've actually tried. I've tried finding one that was heavier. Can't find one.
No, I'm pretty sure I hold the world record for the biggest fish caught in Final Fantasy 15.
I'll have to get you a medal.
Could you? I think I deserve one.
I think yeah, I'll come up with something.
Yeah. In the meantime, can you just slap yourself?
Oh!
Yeah. That wasn't going unnoticed, you cynical son of a bitch. All right.
Actually gonna get you something. Fine. You won't get
Let's move on to a
then.
subject matter that's actually interesting. Square Enix and Marvel announce a multi-game partnership. Now, the Avengers project. This is exciting stuff. Am I the only one here excited about this? Everyone should be pumped about this,
No,
right?
you can't see me right now. My arms are in the air like I'm on a roller coaster.
Yeah. Woo!
Oh no, I was hyped, man. When I saw that, I was like, "Let's get it."
Yeah.
Can we have that? Can we have that now?
Yeah. Just shut
Hopefully
up
we
and
see
take
something
my
soon.
money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's being developed by Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal.
Which
So
is
you're talking
an
about
amazing
Tomb Raider and
partnership.
Deus Ex devs working on the game together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
It's awesome.
Yep, you get no complaints out of me. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh God,
Imagine that. Gamers happy about something.
Right.
Doesn't happen often, right?
I know. I'm waiting for that one person to come out of the woodwork and go, nobody wants that.
You can properly
Who
whip
are
that ass.
you?
DC forever.
Yeah.
Hashtag DC life.
It's not gonna be like Arkham.
Hashtag Spider-Man. Spider-Man reboot number whatever.
Yeah, right?
I do love my DC as well. You know, like I love both. But I mean, who's not going to be excited about an Avengers project? I have a life-size Captain America shield hanging on my wall. I am so hyped for this. This is going to be amazing. It's just really nice to see something like that come out that excites everyone. You know, like there seems to be no argument at all about the fact that everybody's just like, oh snap! Yes!
No one can argue against it.
No,
right,
it's untapped.
exactly.
It's completely untapped.
Right. A team game too. Think about that. I mean, we've had a good like superhero game in like the Batman franchise where for so long they some of the early Spider-Man games from PS2 days were mostly strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
Usually a movie licensed bullcrap that nobody really wanted. So to have like these studios with high pedigree, we know the kind of quality product that they put out. To take on a team game like Avengers,
yeah,
that's really awesome. Because I know a lot of people have been asking for like a Justice League game in the vein of like Arkham, or to see what Rocksteady. I know people want to see Rocksteady kind of take something like that on. So that's awesome, man.
And can you imagine if this isn't like just a single player game? If there's like a co-op campaign, so you can get like 3 or 4 people together.
Playing. Oh God!
Yeah, it'll be Sam. It'll be like back in the day. It'd be like back in the day when you would play those team games with your cousins or brothers and stuff, and you argued over who was going to be like in the X-Men games. Who's going to be? I'm Wolverine,
right.
or whatever.
Did anyone ever play Ultimate Alliance?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm super.
That was probably those games were probably the closest to that kind of feel. So hopefully, whatever this is going to be, I'm hyped. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Call me intrigued.
Yeah, Ultimate Alliance.
Calling me intrigued.
Ultimate Alliance is a great team game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Aussie Gamer points out a good point there. He's just like, Lego Marvel was good, but he wanted more, and he hopes that it keep it gritty and hardcore, and that it's not a kid game. He wants he wants something that is appealing to the adult demographic. And I agree. I mean, Lego games, they're fantastic. I mean, that's what I got my nephews for Christmas, and they love Lego Batman and Lego. I think one of them was the Avengers, and the other one was Batman Gotham Returns or something. Mm-hmm. They love those games so much, and they're a lot of fun to watch and even play as an adult. But it would be really nice to have something that was developed for us as adults to play as adults.
Right. And looking at the trailer, it looks like that's kind of where it's headed.
Right, it does have that dark kind of dread towards it. It's I'm really looking forward to this.
Yep.
It's it's good times. It's good times. 2017. Wow.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
If we have like a minimal amount of reboots this year, I'd be a lot happier.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's very true. We have really had that stuff down our throats throughout 2016. I mean, that was everybody's favorite condiment, and I'm kind of a little over it. It's like, you know what? I've had enough tomato sauce this year. Can we have some mustard or something? I'm sick of reboots. But that actually does lead us into the last subject matter that we have, which is our thought-provoking piece. Where is Microsoft possibly going with their games beyond Scorpio? They seem to be thinking more games as a service, whereas Sony seems to still be doubling down on story-based single-player experiences. And this kind of brings us back into like looking at the lineup that we have over 2017, what we know that we have coming for us. And for anybody who owns a PlayStation, you are in for a lot of amazing experiences. There are a few titles coming out on Xbox that I know will be great, and I am looking forward to, but I don't see a constant flow of content being advised for us on the Xbox side of things, whereas I can see for months down the track of stuff that I just cannot wait to get my hands on PlayStation. I'm hoping that it's maybe because Microsoft are holding their cards closer to their chest on the approach to E3, and they're just going to absolutely blow us away. But at the moment, I can see why, as a person who is looking to buy a console, if you're A, haven't been gaming before, or B, are moving from PC to consoles, I can see why you would probably be leaning towards a PlayStation. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. Where is Microsoft possibly going with the games beyond Scorpio? Eric, take it away.
Well, personally, me, I'm much more of a story-based single-player player first. Multiplayer is secondary to me. So, when Phil was kind of, he's been engaging a lot with the audience lately, which, has been good. And something that stuck out to me, he said, like, this year will be like the first year that they don't lead with, Gears or Halo, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, for the most part, they have some new things to introduce. My first thought was, please let at least one of those, whatever these new things may be, whether it's new IP or they're going to revisit some other things, let's like really get some kind of good story-based, single player experience going. Even if that experience has a component of co-op, but not where it has to be completely like 4 players, 5 players all together, or a big, deathmatch multiplayer type thing. And I kind of say that based off of, while I really enjoy Gears, and I think my favorite parts of Gears, have always been the campaign, and I really enjoy playing Horde, like with you guys, and when it comes to multiplayer, I prefer that type of multiplayer over
I'm totally over Horde because Sam insists on killing everything.
Sam's good at Horde. Sam is good at Horde. I do enjoy Horde, but one thing I did not like about Gears 4 was Horde being put into campaign. Yes. And I'll explain why. It's because I'm very much a single player focused person. I don't mind playing co-op campaigns, but if you're trying to play it by yourself, those Horde moments to me really slow down the proceedings. Yeah,
it kind of did.
Yeah. So,
but I get
it.
An individual game and a individual studio versus Microsoft.
Right. And I'm just using that as the example, where I look at some of the experiences coming up, on PlayStation 4, like with, God of War, they're changing the direction on that. We're not really sure what Days Gone is going to be, but it does look like it's going to be more focused on, the story and a single player, component, like The Last of Us, things like that. Those are the kind of games that really speak to me. And while, Sam, we've talked back and forth at length about, the merits of Quantum Break, the ups and downs of that game, the strengths and the weaknesses. It is a single player story driven game for Microsoft. Mm-hmm. I want to see them take more of that on and do some more things like that. However people feel about Quantum Break, at least they kind of answered that with that. While Sunset Overdrive isn't based on, like any like super strong, stories, just kind of go do your own thing. I really like resonated with that because if I choose to play some of the co-op, I could, but if I want to just kind of go in there and mess around on my own, I could do that too.
Yeah, it's like Crackdown.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping while the multiplayer parts of Crackdown have been a lot talked about with the cloud compute and stuff like that, I'm really hoping Crackdown gets back to its roots of what made that game strong.
But you know what bothers me is we haven't heard anything about cloud at all.
No, cloud was the thing for a long time, right?
Yeah, but
now it's
it's like dead. Like I'm like, why aren't they talking about it anymore? And did you notice that they changed the marketing on the Xbox Scorpio page?
No.
VR is dropped off the list.
Yeah, Rand was actually talking about that. I was talking with Randolph Thor. And basically, it's not because they're not going to be supporting VR anymore. They still are with the different Windows-branded VR headsets that are coming out, like from Asus and a couple of HP, a couple of other companies. It's because they don't see VR as having a significant market share to be worth marketing towards right now.
And that's to me, I applaud that because I think they're looking at what PSVR is doing in terms of sales and not to knock that the experience isn't there, but I think that the growth isn't where they thought it would be. And for me personally, I still think it's a niche thing, and there has to be a certain title that really resonates with me before I'll go, yeah, okay, this is what VR or AR is meant for, right? So until that happens, I guess it's a good idea that they do take a step back from that and then just focus on games. But I think for the next few months, it's kind of weak, really, in terms of what's coming out.
Well, we've got Halo Wars 2 coming out, right?
Well, no, that's strong, yeah.
And then evidently the Phantom Dust remaster, we're getting an announcement on that very, very soon. Because Phil has said that is going to be out ideally before May. So evidently we're just going to get a release date sprung on us. But I mean, there's no denying, and I say this as a primarily Xbox guy, there's no denying they have less games announced right now. Which in some ways that's okay because you don't get that overwhelming sense of how on earth am I going to play everything. But at the same time, yeah, exactly. But at the same time, there's also the fact that there isn't as much going on. Me personally,
it's not necessarily a bad thing, like you said. But hang on, I'll let you finish your thought before I chime in.
Right. This is me personally, and I have nothing to go off of except looking at some of the decisions they've made. Phil has said before he doesn't like third-party deals in terms of the 30-day exclusivity content or anything like that, or, like the Destiny deals, stuff like that. But they have been perfectly willing to back third-party companies in terms of developing new IPs for them, for Xbox. So you have Scorpio launching this fall. I mean, it's right there in the name, October or November. I think we're going to see them being very, very bullish at E3 with new IPs from not necessarily developers that they own, but that they have contracts with. That's me, and I have nothing to base that off of except what I would do if I was in that situation with the tools I had available.
Right, because you've got the newest architecture on the block. PS4 Pro has already been out for a while, so now you've got new toys for developers to play with, and they basically have like carte blanche to do whatever they want with the hardware that they have now.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they definitely will have to bring the proverbial it, because I don't know, me personally, like I've said it over and over again. I'm okay with new tech. I'm okay with this thing, but this power narrative does not concern me at all. It's always been about games, and power means nothing without great experiences to go along with it. So that has to be their narrative. It can't be, well, we got you the most powerful console, because that power is only fleeting. It only stays the most powerful for so long before the next thing comes along.
That's right, because hardware changes and
right, exactly. So to me, it's always about the games. It is proven in history the most powerful console does not necessarily mean the best console.
Exactly.
So that's all I say. Is just, hey, you gotta bring it. Hopefully, they've gotten much better with keeping things close to the vest, because with last E3, we went into E3 kind of knowing almost everything, unless you just went on like a blackout. Things were leaking left and right before E3 hit.
Oh, it was terrible.
Well,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like-
Phil actually admitted himself that they took a big risk by announcing Scorpio, to internally, just to their employees and things like that, because he knew that leaks were going to happen. So I
Right.
think that was sort of kind of a one-off, if that makes any sense, in terms of the situation that happened because of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, the irony of that is I actually wrote an article towards the end of last year. Actually, no, probably about mid last year. It was more of a prediction-based article, which was based off industry knowledge and looking at the turnover of technology and the cycles that we seem to be going through, and this new ecosystem that's being brought in and all this kind of stuff. And basically my prediction was that by no later than 2018 we would either be hearing about the next generation of consoles or be seeing one in the market. Now, I was off the mark by about 3 months, because 3 months earlier than that we were actually going to get the Scorpio on shelves. The irony behind all of that is I got torn to shreds. People were losing their minds over the idea of the fact that we were going to have a new console or a new generation of consoles coming in 2018, which if you space that out between when we actually expect the next Sony console to come out and when the Microsoft one comes out, 2018, I guess, is the middle.
Mhm.
But people were losing their goddamn minds over that. And
Gamers have short memories. I mean, the whole 8-year gen that the 360 and the PS3 went through was very abnormal due
that's
to a
never
wide
happened
variety
again.
of situations. Before that, it was always 3, 4, 5 years at the most.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah, we're never going to see the life expectancy of what we got from the 360 again. It's not going to happen.
No.
No.
We're actually really, really lucky. Like, instead of reminiscing and just going, I should be able to get 10 years out of my Xbox One. I don't want 10 years out of my Xbox One. That thing's going to be like a VHS in 10 years. No, give me a new console. I want the new technology.
Yeah,
Right.
Technology is moving at a much faster clip than even then, But I think also what happens is last gen was just crazy for lots of different reasons. A, like Sam just said, it was the longest gen that we've ever had, right? B, it was the first gen where we hit HD.
Right.
So that alone was a game changer, right? So now you're kind of like, games do look better. Games are getting better. But you could also argue that from a, AI design standpoint, they're not that much farther advanced than where they were last gen, right? In some cases. So I would say power is great if it's going to make the gameplay experience better. Looking better is fine, but I could put a bow tie on a piece of crap and it's still a piece of crap.
I mean, that's why I've argued for some months now that we have hit a point in visual design where it's okay for it to be stagnant, and let's make frame rate a priority.
Thank you. That's what thank you, Sam.
I am going to keep saying it.
Exactly. That hasn't gotten better. It's time for that to get better. Everyone's like 4K, 4K. Oh my God, 4K.
No,
HDR is a great leap. That actually is more important to me than the 4K part of it.
Well, it is. A wider color range is vastly more important.
Right, that's the most important. But no one talks. 4K isn't going to really do anything for you as far as it's going to make you go, oh, that looks pixel perfect. That looks really cool. But if it's still chugging along, that's not going to do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
If the game is still broken, if the game is boring, if the AI is like walking into a wall, if they're still clipping, if they're still, it's just, those are the things that should be addressed, and I keep saying I would rather have a game hit 1080p 60 than worrying about 4K 60, which is, we know, Sam will tell you, is hard enough for some of the top line PCs to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on my computer, some of the games I play, I'm playing at 144 frames a second. So seeing a game dip in the 30s is just, I'm sorry, it's sad, really.
It's foolish. But at the same time, if you look at some of the Steam stats, the amount of players that actually have rigs that can do 4K 60 FPS with everything turned up is very minor to the people that play at like medium or high and have the low to mid range video cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, and like I also said, why couldn't we have both frame rate and 4K? That would be awesome. But consoles have not mastered 1080 30 or 1080 60. But we're going to jump to 4K 60?
Yeah. My boy Wes brings up another really valid point in the chat section, saying that if consoles can play all past games and future games going forward, are there even generations at all anymore?
It seems like that's over.
Yeah.
Not in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
No.
In the sense that eventually pieces of hardware are going to get outdated and they simply can't run something, then I mean, yes. In the sense that you have measured levels of technology that release for consumers at certain points, yes, but not in the traditional, here's a box, then you replace it with the other box.
Well, do you think that Xbox Play Anywhere is Microsoft's positioning of the future, where you buy one license and it's on your Windows 10 PC and your Xbox, and then eventually,
for sure.
Eventually your PC is going to be, like, to me, like, when I bought Quantum Break and it was on the PC and Xbox, I was like, my PC is basically an Xbox now, right?
I have it on the same moving forward. I have it on very good authority that the Xbox Play Anywhere versions of games like Gears or Resident Evil or Forza are the Scorpio versions already.
Oh, nice.
Like that's because 95% of the code is common to both platforms because of the Universal Windows platform that they're developing.
Right, and the only thing different would be the texture sizes.
Right, I mean, and that's pretty simple. That one programmer can do that in a day. Just if this hardware, then you detect this and set this. That's easy.
Yeah. I mean, as far as that Play Anywhere goes, like I think that it is a great service, but I kind of see it as like, you remember those ads? They were on TV for a long time, ages ago, and you'd only see them at like 3 a.m. and be like, but wait, there's more. If you order now, you'll get this set of steak knives. You know, that's how I kind of see that additional license. And yeah, for anybody who plays it on PC, that's brilliant and stuff like that. But, you know, let's be honest, how often do we play through a game, particularly a single player experience, on one particular platform and then go, that was so amazing that I'm going to go over here and play it on my PC again?
Well, I did it with Gears.
Yeah,
and I'm doing it with Resident Evil.
You were just obsessed with Gears. And, you know, like, and I understand that there are going to be situations where that arises, and there are going to be certain games where people are like, you know what, borrow it. I will go and play it over here because I'll see what it's like, you know, what the PC version is like versus the Xbox game instead of playing it again on here. So I can see the appeal, and I think it's a great service, and there's absolutely no harm to offering that if you are a part of the ecosystem, you can play this game wherever you like, and your game saves come back and forwards. I mean, PlayStation have been doing it for ages with their PS Vita, you know. I mean, so it's great to see that Microsoft are now adopting it, but they're doing it in a much broader scheme as well, and they're making it so that it is a very functional service and a very it's a big value add. But I do see it like a set of steak knives. For as a person who doesn't generally and typically play on PC, for me, there's no value add to me buying a game that is a part of this Play Anywhere ecosystem because I'm not playing it anywhere. I'm playing it on my Xbox, and that's all I'm playing it on. But for people who do have PCs or Windows 10 devices that they are able to dual play these games on, yes, I think that's a great service.
Well, the funny thing is yeah, go ahead.
No, you got it.
Okay, so the funny thing is like at first I thought, okay, you know, Xbox Play Anywhere would be cool because, you know, if I have my work laptop with me and I'm traveling, I don't have to bring my Xbox One S. But you know what? It's small enough that I can. So what's the point of me playing it on my laptop or my PC when the Xbox One S or my original Xbox One played the game, that same game just fine.
Different situations to suit different people. Sometimes I'm writing something or I'm working on some homework and it's like I want to play, I'll say the word again, Bella. I want to play a little bit of Gears or I want to or Resident Evil. Resident Evil now. You know,
Marcus Phoenix fanboy.
Well, now wait a minute. I'm not the one that started a petition for the Marcus Phoenix collection back in the day.
Yeah, but look at what we got. We got the Ultimate Edition. We got the games that you are playing religiously. So you are goddamn well welcome.
Everybody in the world.
Thank you.
Everybody in the world by now should have a copy of Gears, right? Even people without an Xbox are sitting on copies of Gears.
They're handing that stuff out at supermarkets. They're like, you got Gears 1, 2, and 3? You got that Gears? You got that Gears? You need that Gears in your life. No, seriously. Just put it in your pocket. Yeah, off you go. Come on.
It's like before we leave the trip, everybody got their Gears? Okay, let's go.
But seriously, like
oh,
the
we're
original
gonna have to
point, I
turn
was,
the car again. Little Sarah forgot her gears.
but the point I was trying to make is sometimes I don't feel like going and pulling out my rocking chair and playing in front of the TV. Sometimes I just want to take a quick break from what I'm working on or what I'm studying and play something at my computer, and then later, in the evening, I might relax with a glass of wine in front of the TV or something like that. It's options.
Yeah, like you leave that Gears of War Judgment at home, right?
Yeah. Anybody got time for that?
1, 2, 3, and 4. But you leave Judgment at home.
No,
Wow.
I mean, I don't have like a high-end PC or anything. I'm pretty much a Mac user, but I think the Play Anywhere thing is an excellent feature. I think it's a future-proofing feature. And I'm hoping, and I think Phil has actually like addressed that he would like to see it, but I'm thinking that there will eventually be like an app of some sort for Mac. Where gamers can access.
Get a
They
PC.
they do that. What's that? Yeah.
Get a PC.
And the PC still run Windows 10.
I know. You have a very specific situation that is understandable.
Right.
Because I know what you do. So I understand why.
The thing is, like, the thing that I guess it doesn't concern me so much as invokes a lot of thought around the subject matter is that where are we headed with this ecosystem in regards to what we have grown up with as gamers our entire lives as having consoles.
Mm-hmm.
And we're now moving to a position where we're probably not going to actually have what we know as a console any longer. We're going to have a PC that is in the shell. We pretty much effectively already do have a PC in the shell of a console. It still plays like a console. It still looks like a console. It still glitches out like a console. But it's more PC infrastructure than what it used to typically be. And the way the ecosystem is evolving, and with the moves that Sony are making now as well, with adding the ability to play some of the PS Now games on your PC and stuff like that, it looks like we are moving away from what used to be. And this isn't a complaint either. I'll put that out there before I finish my thought. This is not a complaint. But it looks like we are moving away from where we used to have Xboxes and PlayStations and PC to pretty soon everything is just going to be utterly interlinked. Along with our mobile phones, along with the Switch when it comes out as well, and our PS Vitas and tablets, and anything and everything is going to be intertwined. We're no longer, and I was going to say, we're no longer going to have this division. We will have a division in the community because there's too many twats out there for there not to be. But as far as the actual platforms go, I don't see probably in the next 10 years us having this massive division anymore. And I think that as we get more used to the way that the ecosystem is evolving, we're also going to adapt to it a lot more and going to find ourselves using a lot more mobile devices and actually jumping on PC to play stuff more often because there's certain content you can get here that you can't get there. And, I think that we are genuinely going to see a massive change in the way that we view gaming, and it's going to be really soon. It's not going to be a console versus PC versus mobile device thing anymore. It's more going to be I'm going to be playing this game on X today because I'm here, as opposed to I'm jumping on my Xbox today because that's what I do when I play my Xbox.
Right. And I've said for a long time, I see not Xbox in particular in this case, Xbox is definitely looking like or Microsoft, I should say, is looking like they want Xbox to be a service, not necessarily just a box, not just a console. They want it to be a brand name across the board on whatever platform you choose to play it on, your games across the board. I can actually see eventually a Fire TV type of device being the thing, especially as we push forward more into like digital. So
And I can
Yeah,
also
almost,
see us
yeah.
being able to use both at the same time very soon as well, like being able to turn on your Xbox and access stuff from your Windows 10 account that's on your PC.
Mhm.
And
You can
vice
already
versa.
kind of do that.
Yeah.
Well, games-wise, you can, yeah, but other stuff like spreading out. Like Ozzy actually mentions spreadsheets. I'd like to be able to do my tax return on my Xbox One. No, you wouldn't. No one wants to do that.
I don't want to do
Let alone on
that. I game to escape real life stuff.
Yeah, I can actually see us moving forward, being able to turn on the Xbox and be like, "Hey, let's start a photo slideshow because we have family over, and we'll show them that trip we took to Chile last year." And we'll show them all the videos and stuff. But that's stuff that's on your PC, though, not on your Xbox.
Well, the new
Came with
pictures
photos. Yeah, pictures app.
Yeah, pulls it from OneDrive.
Oh, well, there you go. So they've already brought that out. I haven't seen the latest update yet.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's the
like,
insider
see what I'm
dashboard.
saying? It's already happening. It's
Yeah.
already happening. So
Really
yeah,
convenient.
it's no longer going to be a case of PC versus Xbox. They're just going to be like they're going to be holding hands from here on in. They're going to be a partnership
already. There's a Reddit app. There's I use Plex to stream my video library on from my PC to my Xboxes. What else is there? The NBA TV app is there. There's quite a few apps that I have on my Windows 10 PC that when I looked at my Xbox the other day, I'm like, hey, this is here now, or this is here now. Like, so I'm using it while I'm on my Xbox now instead of on my PC. So
all I can hear in my head at the moment is Shang Tsung saying, "It has begun."
it has, and they're doing it really sneaky, and they're going, yeah, hey, we're going to release this app and see who uses it.
Yes, and the Insiders program is brilliant for that as well. So there's a lot of things that Xbox are doing really well in regards to taking the core demographic of people who are interested in that stuff, because only people who are interested in that sign up to the Insiders program and actually use it. So they're getting feedback from people who are interested in that kind of stuff, and then they're able to see the numbers of the people that are interacting with that versus the numbers of people who are on the Insiders program versus the number of people who are actually signed up for Xbox Live Gold, and make an educated decision about whether that's going to be a value add or not.
Yep.
So it's quite clever the way they're going about it. But that still isn't as important a feature as SharePlay. SharePlay.
I don't know. I actually
is-
like being the one to play my games, so.
But as
Yeah,
somebody
same
who
thing.
doesn't own a game, for example, right? And you're in a party with your friends and you're like, "Oh, so Joe, what are you playing today?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 3. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I was going to check that out on YouTube." And he's like, "Here, play it with me. You can watch me play it now." And so you're watching the game and they're like explaining it to you.
Place.
No, I'm not coming to your place. No. And then Joe's like, "I tell you what, I'm going to let you take control of it. You can play it for a little bit." So now you're sitting there in front of a TV playing this game that you don't own, that one of your friends owns. So you can play it. And then they're like, there's a multiplayer aspect. Let's play it together for a bit. So now you're playing a game that you don't own on your console with your friend. Like you're actually playing together online. That is revolutionary. And it's been out for a long time. This is nothing new. Sony have been doing this for a very long time. And SharePlay, I think, is the most underrated feature available on consoles today.
I can agree on it being underrated. Yeah.
It's not the greatest feature, but it is the most underrated feature.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
Yeah. That's fair.
Fair.
And it also has led to me buying a lot of games, because I'll jump on SharePlay with one of my friends and, play said game for half an hour. I'm like, all right, this is amazing balls. I have to get this. So I'll end up buying a whole heap of games. Let's not tell Enrique about SharePlay, okay? Because he's just, wow, he'll end up buying a dozen games overnight.
Really?
I heard he's already taking out stock in Best Buy, so.
He kind of needs to. It might be more economical for him.
Like Cheers, he walks into Best Buy, they're like, "Hey, Enrique!"
Yeah, they all put on their big sombreros and they pull out the Coronas and the maracas start playing. Like, yeah. There you go, Enrique. You got your shout out for the Brat podcast that goes live 9 p.m. Wednesday night. So make sure you check it out.
But no, I think share play is definitely like an underrated feature. The share button, just in general, is like.
Oh yes, I would love a share button.
That thing, it doesn't get talked about a lot. It gets compared. People talk about they wish it was as easy. On the Xbox side of things, I don't share as much from my Xbox because it's more tedious.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
And if you don't have a PlayStation to have that comparison, you probably don't really think about it that much. But when you have the comparison, you go, it really. Yeah.
It's so good. You just press that back button. It's right there.
Stupid double tap button, and I don't know how many times I've died because I'm trying to get a clip, right? And it's just like. And yelling Xbox record that is just annoying. So.
Right.
And it records a lot longer videos on the PlayStation than what the DVR does currently on the Xbox. But they are upgrading that on the Xbox soon too, so that's really not much.
And the double tap is gone as of the new update that is in the Insider program right now. It's just a one-button press, and it's not there right now, but they are working on making it so you just press one button and then you can share stuff instantly to Twitter or Facebook.
Boom. They get that going. It's a share-a-thon.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Oh yeah. I mean, you guys are on my Twitter. You saw how much photos I was putting up when I was playing Final Fantasy. Like every 5 minutes, I'm like, here's another photo. Here's another photo. Here's another photo. It's so easy to do.
I'll give Stinger a shout out. He said that a funny line. He's like, I can't tell if this is a game or a photography simulator.
Is she playing Dead Rising?
Because they took some damn good shots. They were share-worthy. And Sony made sure that my ability to share them out in under about 5 seconds to Twitter was there. So you know what I did? I used it because it was easy. It was user-friendly. It was fun. And it was a value add.
I have to say I saw more PS4 shares from Final Fantasy than I saw any Xbox.
Right.
Yeah, but let's be realistic here. That surely isn't skewed by the fact that there were way more people on PlayStation playing it.
Well, not even that.
There were on
I would wager if it was as easy to share, you probably would have seen more. I see people sharing from their Xbox. I don't see nearly as much. And I would say once they fix that on the Xbox side, you're going to see a lot more.
I mean, how often do you see photos shared on Xbox for Xbox exclusives? That is what we can use as a comparison, because the point that Sam brought up just then is that obviously, there were more people playing Final Fantasy on PlayStation, because obviously it's typically a franchise that has belonged on a PlayStation and not the Xbox. It's so great that it's on both now. But if we have a look at games like Gears of War, Forza, any of those main titles for Xbox, how often do you see on Twitter when these big, huge AAA games launch a flood of screenshots coming from people who are playing it on Xbox? You don't. But we saw a flood of photos coming through from Final Fantasy 15 because they added it as a feature that at the end of every night you had the ability to check your photos and share them out, and it was like it took you 2 fucking seconds. It was amazing. It was so easy to do. It just press a button, choose whether you want to put a caption with it or not. No, I don't, because I want this to take me 2 seconds, not 34, because I'm on PlayStation, not Xbox, and you're done.
Yeah, even getting into like your Twitch streams and your YouTube streams is like super easy, like super quick.
Exactly.
So hopefully Bar and the team get it there to where it's like a button press away, because I definitely think more people would be using the feature and doing it, and there are people that do, but I think more people would be.
And see, the irony of this conversation as well is that we're always complaining about how we want more games, like we want more games, we want more variety, we want more genres, we want more content. But at the end of the day, we actually really do pay a lot of attention to the tiny things like those features. Those features are a integral part of our enjoyment of the game to a degree. And something as simple as being able to share a photo to social media can make a big difference to a decision-making process of where am I going to play this game? What about this game intrigues me? What have I heard you can do with it? All right, well, I've heard A, B, C, and D. And that console does A, B, C, and D well, whereas that console only does A and B well. So I guess I'll go and play it there. Features are actually a really, really integral part of the way that we experience, share, and provide feedback about our gaming experiences. And it's lovely to see that Xbox is putting a big focus on fine-tuning these features to make sure that it's more user-friendly, and regardless of whether it's a feature that you do or don't want to use, it's still there. You have that option.
I agree.
So on that note, that was our last subject matter for the day. And we have we've actually run 40 minutes over time. I don't know how, but we have.
Well, that's what happens when you have some good conversation going.
Yeah, it's been a lovely conversation. It's been good.
It's the first one for the year, so it's all good.
This is true as well. It's really nice to be back. It was lovely to see a lot of our regulars jump into the chat to welcome us back as well. So thank you very much for engaging with us and being here to support our 2017 return. I know that it wasn't the most optimal time of the day for us to go live. However, there is a good reason behind why. It's my father's birthday this weekend, and we were meant to be having dinner, but Dad has decided that he wants to have a lunch instead, which is in Australia is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is when we were going to go live. So we put that back a little bit earlier because I can't exactly call my dad up and say, oh, you know, happy birthday, Dad. I'm not coming to lunch because I got a podcast. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's a video game thing. Yeah, you know, the video games. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We get on the internet and we talk in this thing called Google Hangouts. No, it's live. No, but that's why I can't postpone it, Dad. It's live. It's scheduled in, right? No, you're not understanding. So we all get on Google Hangouts. Yeah, so you can see how that conversation would go down.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's easier to reschedule it and go to lunch.
Yeah. So here we are, podcasting early, going to lunch soon, barbecue and beers will be had. It's going to be a great Sunday.
Awesome. That sounds
nice.
Fantastic.
Indeedy. So on that note, I will let you lovely gentlemen get back to the rest of your evenings because I know it's creeping towards dinner time for most of you. And we will be back again in another fortnight's time, theoretically, as long as, you know, whatever dramas that we've had the last 2 or 3 times we tried to go live haven't happened, you know, power outages and internet shutdowns and busted backs and a variety of different things. It's been a little difficult to pull everybody together, but that is what happens over the Christmas break. So we're back now. We look forward to coming back in a couple of weeks' time. We will have some giveaways next podcast. We didn't do any today because, you know, it was at a unscheduled time and we knew that people were going to catch up with us later as opposed to live. So it makes more sense to not do that today. But yeah, thank you. We love your support. We love our games. And we look forward to talking to you again in another 2 weeks. This
Absolutely.
has been another RGM podcast.